Okay. So the first thing that I would ask, I think that people will want to know is what is your background from both of you?
Mhm.
Like what you guys did as your bachelor's and as your master's and everything that you studied, how you got here with Act and then The Matrix. So just an introducing on your background and your history.
Okay, fine.
Flip a coin on who goes
Oh,
first.
go ahead, Kevin. You go first.
How far, let me see. You can start, I was born in, no. Really, I will say,
Where are you right now? Sorry,
well,
just
right now I'm in the state of Maine.
okay.
It's in the northeast, literally the northeast corner of the United States. But I do not have a Maine accent because I was born in Texas and then raised and educated in Oklahoma. And I have a a strange background. I'm, but let's just stick with psychology. And so I have a bachelor's in psychology, a master's in social psychology, industrial organizational social psychology, and then a PhD in clinical psychology. But my dissertation was in experimental, that is cognitive psychology. And so I came out of that and I went to work internship and then went to work for a the Veterans Affairs hospital system in the United States who treats veterans. And I began in a PTSD program, post traumatic stress disorder program, managing it. And in one way or another, I did that for 30 years. And we were forever figuring out better ways to help to talk with people with veterans with post traumatic stress disorder, and we we had learned something called prolonged exposure therapy from Edna Foa, and that was tough. And of course, we had done cognitive behavioral therapy because that was what everybody did, and we didn't. It wasn't working as well as we would like, and so we found the ACT books, and we being my colleague Gerald Hambright and I, and fellow psychologist, and so we began reading the ACT books, and they were awful. You couldn't understand them. Uh,
So complicated.
right. And
I thought it was just me.
no.
No, you're
And
good.
that was in like probably 2002. I'm probably, I picked it up, read a little bit of it, went, yeah, sure, and put it back on the shelf. And it was, but later on, we went to a conference, John Forsyth conference. And by hearing John Forsyth sort of talk about it in person, I was like, okay, I think maybe that has our term in America, we might say it has legs, it has something I could work with. And so I got the book back off the shelf and started playing. And then I don't know, I just got addicted to it. Bill knows this. I got addicted. And I just read everything and about the philosophy and then the theory of language and cognition and then all. And it was back then it was easy to read all the ACT books because there was like 4 or 5 of them. So, now that would be a difficult task. But back in 2004 or 5, not so hard. But nevertheless, they still didn't make a lick of sense, really. And so my task then became I had to make it simpler. Just had to do that. And so I did. And then I met Phil and we made it simpler. 2009, I was playing hard with it and trying to come up with stuff and trying to figure out how to train people very quickly in acceptance and commitment therapy, in particular for PTSD in the VA system. And one day I was playing around with something and poof, this thing called The Matrix showed up. And I wrote it down on a whiteboard and started showing it to people. And everybody I showed it to went, that's it. That's it. So I'll let Phil talk because Phil and I met just before that showed up.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So for myself, Michelle, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and then I went on and got a master's degree in counseling psychology, and then I continued and got certified as a school psychologist, and did some postgraduate work in family therapy. So then that led me to go to work, a couple of sideways gigs here and there. I ended up as a school psychologist, working in public schools within the United States and in New Jersey. And then I did that for, 38 years or so, right? Like Kevin. And I was drawn to working with students as within the field of school psychology. Most of the students that you're working with are students with some disability. So I spent some time doing all the psychoeducational, psychodiagnostic stuff. But I slowly drifted over to working with I wanted to work with kids with behavioral issues. Everybody else was running away from them, and I was running toward them. So I was fortunate enough within the district I worked in, there was a program that they had developed for students, secondary students that had behavioral issues. And they had gone through the educational system and they were just not doing well. So they would come to our program, and our job was to help them get the ship righted and help them get to graduation, basically. So that's what I was doing when I found Kevin. And I like Kevin. I found ACT. I knew it was good stuff, but I could not wrap my head around. I mean, I was reading books and then trying to go back and do it. And like, this is hard. So along comes this brochure, ACT for Powerful Life Change with Dr. Kevin Polk. And I'm like, I'm going to go see this guy, right? So it's a cold day. It's January, right? Over here, really cold, right?
Yeah.
And we're back in New Jersey.
And we're in New Jersey. And we're in this hotel room. And it's about 4 degrees outside and about 4.5 degrees inside because there was no heat in this room that we were in. So we're all there with our coats on, right? And Kevin was fortunate enough to get us a warmer room later on in the day. But this was right before the ACT matrix was born into the world. But even then, Kevin had made it simpler. And now he starts talking. I'm going, oh, okay. Now I'm getting how to do this stuff. And then he and I formed a collaboration. Like twice a month, we met. We Skyped back in the day when it was
all Skype back then. Yeah.
We Skyped. And I was like a mad scientist because I would pick Kevin's brain, and then I go right back into the school.
And he'd run to the school and try it out.
And then I meet with him again. Like, here's what happened. And we were just back and forth. We did that for a long, long time. Yeah. And then from there, I started working with individual students. Then I started it with groups. I showed my staff. And then I started getting it into any school that would listen to me. And then, a couple of years ago, Kevin did he left the VA. And I shortly left the schools after that, and we've been doing this stuff ever since. So that's my stuff.
I left out a tiny little detail: the 2 books.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, a little detail.
You gotta go back. You gotta go back and do the 2-book thing.
Along the way, somewhere, and I was I went. I had come up with something. Oh, we had one of Kelly Wilson's graduate students from the University of Mississippi had applied to our pre-doctoral internship program. And his name was Chad Drake. He's a professor now. Cool guy. And he had come up and accepted. And I happened to be going to Mississippi on a school trip with my son. And so I said, hey, I know I do ACT in this program. We have this thing. Love to get together with Kelly Wilson. Well, by God, I did. when I went to Kelly Wilson's living room. And by people who don't know, he's one of the 3 original authors of the first ACT book. So I'm literally presenting ACT to Kelly Wilson and his graduate students. I mean, there's Sanborn, what's her name? I almost got it. Emily.
Oh, Sandoz.
Yeah, right. She's nursing her kid over on the couch. I'm
She
not
was
kidding.
one of his grad students at the time, right?
One of his grad students, and she has a baby and she's nursing it on the couch. I can still remember. So I mean, I'm just going along, and one of the graduate students suddenly says, "Oh my God, this is ACT gone wild," and so Kelly then wanted me to come to Houston to present what I was doing, and I said, "Well, basically." He twisted my arm and I said I'd go. And I said, but we have to call it ACT Gone Wild. And so that's the first presentation was in Houston at a ACBS, whatever that is, conference. And it was called ACT Gone Wild. And Steve Hayes was even in the audience because you know why? Everybody else canceled. I was the only show in town. Bringing everybody shows up.
Active audience.
And we were just having a good old time. So that's how I sort of got known within the ACBS community, and that eventually led to the Matrix book, the first of the Matrix books. And Phil wrote a chapter.
Yes.
The Matrix Goes to School in that, and then a couple of years later, we did another book called The Essential Guide to the ACT Matrix. And somebody from Argentina, Fabian, was one of the co-authors of that book. And so there we had 2 ACT books out. So then we did that, and I'm not doing that anymore. Now we do Crowdcast. We forgot. This is what we do now.
Yeah.
3 times a week we show up here and do a Crowdcast, except today is special. Because we're being interviewed. And now, for the first time in many years, we gave our histories.
Yeah, really. That's
That's how we got here.
That's great, amazing. I have a son with autism. That's why I went to know about ABA stuff. So it's not because my first graduation is on law. So I don't know, Kevin, if your graduation is different. So so your bachelor's degree. So as mine here in Brazil, your first graduation it's what marks you. So yeah. Unfortunately, here you have to choose when you are 17.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, one of the
European schools are like that too, I think, aren't they, Michelle? Yeah.
Yep. I entered in law school with 17 years old, so I stayed for 5 years studying law. But a good thing that law gave to me, I never practiced, just internships and everything. But a good thing that law gave to me is the power of critical thinking and to question and to go beyond and not accept everything that people brings to you. It needs to make sense. I think that that's a good ability. To leave the word. So I went to know about ABA, applied behavior analysis. I was just looking for something to help my son.
Sure.
He was 2 years and a half. And I was just looking for something to help him. So this was in 2014. So I learned about applied behavior analysis, but I have never heard about ACT. So
so Steve, just to say, Steve Hayes came out of that ABA community and decided to do something a little more.
Yeah.
And got transplanted out of it and then created the contextual psychology stuff known as acceptance and commitment therapy. But its roots, the old roots of it, are back in behavioral analysis. Yes.
Yeah.
Then it's handy to know a little bit about both and know how they separated But that's a whole crowd cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he's more involved, especially in Brazil. He's more involved with cognitive psychology. I don't have a problem. On separating things. I am more on the field on, okay, this knowledge is good, I can apply, so give me. I'm not worried what are we calling.
Well, this is the kind of stuff that you can apply and then notice if it works.
Right.
Whereas many other things in life, you'd have to be a scientist to do the experiment, to try something and then do the measurements to see whether it works. But this is your own life. So you're going to try things out and
experiment on yourself.
Work on yourself. And if you go, yeah, that seems to be working.
Yeah, really. I'm going to keep that one.
And here we go. I'm going to keep that behavior because that behavior is working for where I want to go in life. Well, that's ACT. That's exactly what this is.
We do.
So if people, and that's what we say to people, if you find that it's working, keep it.
Keep doing.
Yes. And if you find that it's not, well, then by all means, don't keep doing it. No, we'll find something else.
That's great. That's great. And then I heard about ACT on 2018 when I was in a trip at the United States. Some courses that I took. So I stayed almost a month there with my family. I have 2 boys, 5 dogs, 3 rabbits, and 1 turtle.
And you brought them all to the United States?
No. Here I went with just some part of the family. Just some part, just the human parts of the family.
Okay.
But I was studying something. Then I heard about ACT. But what I stayed really unmotivated, it was so hard to understand. So it was the same process.
Yeah. You should have found us first.
Really?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Because I started reading about RFT and Stephen Hayes books and articles and other things, but it was so far away from me.
That's what I did.
Yeah. I did a bit of that too. That's what I was trying to do. Same thing. Like, oh my God, this is just ridiculous. Like,
it makes you not motivated, not wanting more.
One day I woke up and I saw the code.
Yeah.
I could see the Matrix.
Like the Matrix, the movie, The Matrix. You know about the movie, The Matrix?
I could see the code.
We talk about seeing the code. So all
I can see the code. I see the code. But it took a lot of doing and a lot of practicing to get to where I could see it that clearly. Now, with that said, it's extraordinarily elegant, simple model that is then made to be extraordinarily complicated. Now, looking at it from my point of view, I cannot for the life of me understand why people make it complicated. But that's because I can see the code. So
you can see what it is behind, what is the purpose.
Yeah.
Nobody has explained me so simple as Tina has done in our. Yes, good. Yes, she deserves. Nobody had explained me so simple as she did it on our interview. That it's going to be on air tomorrow. Actually, in Portuguese translation and everything. So
what did you want something from us?
Yes, sure.
Yeah,
we are doing the same thing that I did with Tina, like. Interviewing and talking about the Matrix and letting people know about it, because many people they don't they give up on ACT because of that.
Most people give up, Michelle.
Yeah, that would be the majority.
Okay.
They just run screaming off into the night. I got to go do something else.
Yes. and they don't use it. Like my audience are of people who works with people with disability.
Yep.
So and they are receiving more and more children who are who have more language, they have more to give,
Yeah, good.
but they don't know how to work on flexibility and anxiety with those populations.
Right.
So we really need professionals who are ready to work with, for example, adolescents and young adults.
Yep.
So I'm receiving lots of messages of young adults.
So
Yeah.
training, helping train professionals who can then go work with you.
Right.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, that's pretty much what we do here,
Good.
because we know that many of this content will not be available in Portuguese.
Right.
People don't, I don't know what is the percentage of people who speaks English or reads comfortable in English. Imagine reading something that is already difficult and in another language.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
will.
I'm not going anywhere near that.
There was some, when I visited Brazil, there was some young man there who wanted to translate the book, the first Matrix book, into Portuguese, but he never got around to it.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not an easy process.
No.
I had translated a book from another professional that it's on Lego therapy. He's a neuropsychologist.
Yeah,
I've heard of that.
Right, yeah.
Yes, Dr. Daniel Legoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not a big applied behavior analysis fan, but I always say I really like you, so it doesn't matter.
It works, right? Now we're back
It
to
works.
Yeah.
Yes, I really like him. He knows a lot about cognitive
Sure.
and
What
everything.
would somebody do, just to interrupt you, is they would listen to this and then
Yep.
they would translate it into Portuguese.
Yes, we put subtitles on and we put all over in our social media.
We would be subtitled? Oh, wow, Phil.
Can you imagine us with subtitles underneath in Portuguese?
How are they going to
It's
do
better
it?
than having someone speaking as your voices.
Oh yeah, it's great. Like close your
When do they get a hold of all of our weirdness?
trying to translate some of these words in here too, right? Jesus. Yeah.
So
we go nuts.
but I think that it will be amazing because that's what they really need. They need to acquire this knowledge in order to apply. So
what they want to do, and just so you're clear, is Phil and I have the approach that we get people how we say it. They have bicycles in Brazil, right?
yeah,
Here's our bike. This is our bike.
There's our bicycle. We
Right
get
there.
people up on the bicycle.
Really quick.
We just bring the bike out of the garage, sit it there, and say, swing your leg right over this bicycle, and let's get started riding. That's how we do our training and stuff. So the other way that is done and people get lost in is people say, well, I'm going to write several thousand words about the bicycle.
okay.
So
And
we go that way.
Then it's going to be up to you to buy the parts and build the bicycle and then get it up on yourself. It's like, and we were like, well, that's a really hard way to go about bicycles. Why don't we just give them a bicycle, get them up on it and get them riding around. And then once you do some of this stuff, you can go read the ACT books. And I guess they might call it reverse engineer.
Backfill it, like
You back and you go, okay, I get it now. I see what they're doing. Right. So this is the opposite way. So just know, if people are shocked about, wow, they just blasted out there. Well, that's the bicycle.
That's
We're
it.
just handing you a bicycle and getting you to swing your leg over the bicycle and just
and then
go.
learn how to.
And they go, but I'm wobbling. Yeah.
Yeah. Goes with bike riding.
That's the way
Part
it
of the
goes.
process.
It's part of the process.
Exactly. It's just part of the process. But you know what? It's not very long before you're not wobbling so much and you're riding just fine. And that's what we're doing with the Matrix.
Yeah.
Where these
Helping them to get the process running inside of themselves.
and then once they get the process running, now they can go say, diffusion
I
and
can ride my bike anywhere now.
values and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. They can go, oh, okay, I get it now. I get what they're up to now. So that's what we're doing, giving them the key, the secret,
Okay.
the secret code.
Yeah.
Totally get it. And so what can we say as a practical applying the ACT matrix that is being done by other people? So I know that Phil brought, I don't know if he brought to school the ACT matrix. I don't. So
lots of schools. Yes.
Well, toward that end, I'm going to jump in and say something. You have a son that is a special needs son, right?
Yeah.
When I first started to figure this out for myself, and I tried it with some very difficult, the word is oppositional here, right? You know what oppositional is, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I worked in a setting where if you looked up the word oppositional, all of my kids' pictures would be showing up in that particular thing, right? And I very bravely, I had my whiteboard right next to me, and that's how I started. And they all responded. I mean, not like to the stratosphere, but they all responded to the point of view. So I knew I had something going. So the next thing I thought was, I got to get this into the earliest grade I can possibly get it into. So I went to colleagues of mine, special education teachers, were working with K-1-2 students, kindergarten, first and second grade students, special needs, kids with multiple disabilities, autism. Guess what? Guess.
It worked.
Same thing. I will share with you a very quick little thing, and then we'll just. I knew that we're cooking when my teacher sent me a picture of a student who was out on the playground at recess. This is a student who had autism and some other things. He was drawing the matrix with chalk on the asphalt. He was writing tour on one side, away on the other side, happy face, sad face. That's when I knew that, wow. So, okay.
So we, as fast as we possibly can, to show people the diagram.
Right.
And we're very upfront about this and telling that even after hearing me say these words, people won't do that. They'll instead want to say, let me tell you about the diagram. I want to tell you and talk to you about it first. And they might even spend an hour talking about it, having never shown the thing.
Right.
And we just absolutely say, no.
Can't do it that way.
Hold it up. It's on our T-shirts, by God.
We wear it.
We're wearing it.
We show it. It's behind you in your office. It's everywhere.
Because, and this I'll be a little bit teachy, because it's a contextual therapy. And what that means is that you, the teacher or the therapist, whatever role that you're in, what your job is to change the context that behavior is occurring within. That's just that. So what you have control of is how you can manipulate the context. You don't have direct control of other human beings. And if you think you do, please let me convince you, because I haven't seen any other.
We'll come to your crowdcast. Let's
go. Direct control other. But what we do have control over is how we contribute to the context. So I can yell, I can jump up and down, I can wave my arms, I can do all kinds of stuff to change the context, or I can just hold up this diagram and say, here's something that I use to look at the world through. And when you do that and people go, oh, really? And they look at it like I'm looking at Phil's shirt, you just change the context. Boom. You just switched it. You just did a contextual intervention.
Yeah.
So what most people think is I have to talk and expound upon philosophy.
Use lots of words.
Blah 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 blah. And that's how, you know, I change people in some way. And like, okay, I'll give it. All your words are changing, are messing with the context. Yeah. But I'm not so sure they're quite the direct shot of something that we do. I feel like one of those bad girls, you know, lifting up.
Why are those guys playing with their shirts all the time?
What is
What's going on with that?
but that's what we do. I mean, we just go in and show it. That we just instantly change the context. And then what that opens up is now we're going to have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
You know, about this point of view. We're just going to have a conversation.
Now I can talk about whatever you want to talk about.
And so, yeah, so you want to talk about the weather? Great.
Fine.
That's up here, by the way.
Yeah.
I would put that up here in the 5 senses.
Those are 5 cents.
Oh, but you know, I have deep, dark feelings about the weather. Oh,
yeah.
where would you put that? Oh, I'd put it down here in the mind. See,
Okay, well, let's put it down here.
even if you talk about the weather, we can then fold it into looking at things from this point of view, which is called perspective taking. And we're off and running.
Boom.
It's that fast. It takes us seconds to accomplish. And we've just shifted the context.
Okay.
That's what we're up to.
Okay.
That's it in a nutshell. Well, look at the parent website of this stuff. It's called Contextual
Behavioral Science.
Behavioralscience.org. The first word is contextual. It's a contextual intervention. You, the teacher, the therapist, the parent.
The parent, yeah.
The one thing that you have charge of a bit, not totally, but a bit, is your contribution to the context. All of us parents know it. We do it well, right? We yell, stop door. No.
Yeah,
that's a shift in the context, right?
Give me that. Give me that.
That's a contextual intervention when you scream and don't do that. That's a well, instead we're not going to do that. We're going to and we're going to say, gee, where would you put that behavior up there on that diagram?
Curiosity.
We're curious, not judgmental.
Yeah. You touched a point that I think that it's really good to bring in a more detailed way. That it's usually people think that talking about all feelings and perceptions is a therapy thing. Mm-hmm. So you were just like just therapists can do that. So. Right. People can say, "Oh, I'm a parent. I'm not. I don't know how to do it," or "Oh, I need to send my son to therapy." Or at school, or at school, teachers could say, "Oh no, I am here to teach like academic skills. I'm not here to teach this kind of abilities." Right. But they are like really important to the academic goes well. So what could we say to those people who think, okay, no, this is a therapy thing, just therapists should be doing or should do? What could we say to those people?
Well, if I got in front of them,
right,
am I going to do this?
I'm just waiting.
If I had a chance to get in front of those people, okay, I would say, hi. My name is Phil. I have a point of view that I use. Is it okay if I show you?
And so And in showing them the point of view, they're going to go, oh, that applies to me, like in my everyday walking life.
Yeah.
And we're going, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not therapy. It's just a way of looking at humans living. That's all it is.
Yeah.
It's not about therapy. It's about taking a look at how we live.
Yeah.
And then when you take a look at how you live, to ask the question, well, is how I'm living, that is how I'm behaving, is it working, I should say, working to get me where I want to go in life? And then don't answer that question. Whatever you do, don't answer that question. Just go on and live more life. And here's, okay, we're going to go back to the bicycle. Okay, you ready? If you may have done this, you're riding your bicycle, and then you start intensely judging how you're riding the bicycle.
Yeah.
You really start, and all that. And
I
pretty
just
soon,
get bike riding.
yeah, what happens to your bike riding when you get super focused on it and stare at the wheel and stare
How
at
am I
the
doing?
bars and stuff, and then your grip gets tighter and tighter on the handles, and it's not as good. It's not, you're not learning anymore. You want to have a loose grip on that bicycle. You want to be riding and you want to be hanging on, but you don't want to be hanging on for dear life. And that's this practice, is that you ask the question, but you don't answer the question. You just keep on writing.
Right.
And you learn through writing. You learn through living. You learn through experience. And that, by the way, is the second title of the first ACT book, an experiential approach to behavior change. That means you're experiencing life and then you get it. So most people think, oh, I have to sit down and think for an hour about whether this is working or not.
Yeah.
That won't get you anywhere. That
Just
verbal
in your head.
it'll get you straight down here, right down here in your head.
You're in your head now. That's great.
Have anybody, you can say, hey, have you ever been in your head? And you're just inside your head and you just can't seem to get out of your own way because you're so inside. Everybody goes, oh yeah. I've done that.
Very much. Yeah.
That's not clinical. Just human.
So like back to it, we would train everybody, and I've done it with the teachers. We've done it. We start the same way with everyone, because everyone is a human. So if I'm training a teacher, if I'm working with a parent, if Kevin's working when he was working in the VA, we're going to start it the same way with everyone. Going to show them the point of view so they can experience the point of view. And then they will take that wherever they want to go with it.
And then it goes wherever, right? Now, that doesn't mean that you don't listen to people's stories and you don't chat with them and you don't have a fine time. Some people think, oh, you guys don't do any of that stuff.
No,
we're pretty good at business,
right?
Having a good time. It's just that we happen to have this diagram already up on the board and going. Right. We can always return
back to it anytime you want.
Whenever we need to, we can go back to it, and that's why we're talking about shift the context early, and then have your conversation. Right. And then people can say, "Oh, I'm feeling really depressed."
Okay.
And you go like this. Here's how it goes.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really depressed. And Phil asked me,
hey, Kevin, I just heard you say those words. I'm feeling really depressed.
Yes, I just said that.
And Kevin, I'm wondering, where would you put those words up here on the diagram?
Let me see. I do believe those are the kind of things that are yucky, and I would put them in the lower left. That's where I would put them.
All right, cool. So let's just write them down here.
It's the other side, Phil.
Oh, sorry. That's what happens when you get stuck. Yeah, it's over here, right?
And that's how you
put them over here.
That's how you have a conversation about feelings. Right. You don't have to talk about feelings anymore.
You don't have to get into them.
No,
matter of fact, people will say, wow, that really frees me up to do more of what I want to do if I do it that way.
Right. And so you just go on, and that's just, and then you get into you switching their language into, well, the next time you notice depression showing up, you can notice if you do anything to get relief from it, or if you just sit with it and go on about life.
And then we're
Notice which of those
referring
things
back to
do.
the diagram.
Now, everybody settle down. I just did the complete act package. Did you hear it?
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah,
That's,
Michelle heard it. She got it.
that's
I got it.
I just did the whole thing in that sing-songy voice like that because I have this diagram. And now the person can notice which do they struggle with it, or they just go on about life.
And the
You know what? Both are fine. We're not saying sometimes
sometimes it's a struggle.
sometimes you carry it with you. Whatever. It's okay.
It's okay.
We're just looking at life that way. Now,
Yeah.
people that aren't familiar with this will start thinking, "Oh, well, you got to give up all the struggles, and
Yeah.
you give that all up." You're
We're
like,
done with that. Huh.
good luck with that.
Right.
Every damn morning I wake up struggling.
I
Sometimes in the middle
am.
of the night.
Yeah, I am thinking, since Tina taught me, I was thinking about a good Portuguese word for yeti.
Ah.
What's that?
I don't know yet. I'm still
oh.
thinking.
All right.
I'm working on.
I thought she had it on the tip of her
Yeah,
tongue.
we were waiting for it. We're going to write it down.
Yeah.
No, I am
We
working.
want to learn Portuguese.
Yeah,
We
Yeah,
use
for
two
you.
words of Portuguese.
Yeah.
Currently,
I'm
our only
still-
one is really Michelle. So,
Yeah, I'm still working on for a word on that.
but anyway,
Will.
but it's
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
and as much as we're goofing around here, we're demonstrating how easy it is to show the whole process.
Yeah.
It's really quite simple to
It's
show.
not intimidating at all on any level.
And people are going to go about life, and if you can get them to where they're doing that on our metaphorical bicycle, but so that they're noticing, oh, there's depression.
Yeah.
I've noticed it again.
Yep. Huh.
And I'm noticing that, I'll go ahead and do my stuff.
Yeah, there's my anxiety showing up. Yeah. My good old friend anxiety.
Yeah.
But you know what? Sometimes I need to do something about it.
Yeah.
I do something about it. I muck with it. I struggle with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Join the club.
Really.
I don't have to do that all of the time. Sometimes I can go, I won't do the struggles. I'll go do something else. Well, there you go. And that's basically all you're getting people to do. It's that simple. And really a whole lot of people have the ability to do that. Even people with pretty significant, what we would call autism, can do that.
Yeah.
And
On their
little ones
own
can do
ways.
that.
oh, guess what? Everybody lives their own life.
You got it. You walk
Yeah.
your own walk.
Even if you're rich enough to hire a personal assistant.
Yeah.
That only goes so far.
Yeah.
Unless they're moving your right foot and your left foot.
After a while, you just got to let them go do something else while you do something else. It's just, they're just not going to be with you right there over your shoulder 24/7. It doesn't work that way. Humans, we end up doing quite a little bit of stuff all on our own. And
Not
that's
asking.
what this stuff is for. Is what noticing.
Carrying it with you.
And notice I'm in the flows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the psychological flexibility that they refer to. And the flexibility means I can struggle, I can not struggle.
Yeah.
I have flexibility.
Yeah.
And I don't ahead of time, I don't know which is the right answer, to struggle or not struggle.
Yeah.
I don't know. Tomorrow's a new day.
Yeah. I'll go off and discover that.
Shit. 10 minutes from now is new. You know? I don't know.
And,
So that's
and
what we're doing.
a doubt that I think that people will have will be how could we apply, for example, in my practice or in my school, like I can take 20 minutes and do what I can with the time that I have.
20 minutes? That's a long time.
Yeah, you
That's a
don't
long
even need that much time.
Okay, great. Because those practical aspects, people will want to know and see how can they do it and apply it.
This will fit right into whatever it is that you're doing. The people that I've trained in school say this works very well with what I'm already doing because it's just going to take a couple of minutes. And then the thing about it is that once you show this once, then all you got to do is, okay, remember the diet. And as soon as you bring this back up again, as Kevin has said, we've already said a context once.
Oh, we forgot to answer your question about, they think it's therapy.
Oh, yeah.
We say we don't want you to use it as therapy, but we do want to show it to you to see if it's something you can use for yourself.
Right. See?
That's it.
That would be the first. So if we could say for people, so how can I start on this?
Yeah.
Doing it with yourself.
Let me show this to you.
Yeah. Like this.
Okay, and I'll tell you. So just so you know, senses and stuff come with the top.
Here we go.
Mental stuff and feelings and stuff that go into the bottom. And then the stuff you do to get relief, like
over here,
pain and stuff, go over to the left. And the stuff you do to approach who's important to you and get satisfaction, that goes over on the right. And we start off with this question. Answer this question: who's important to you?
Right there.
That's how you start. As so you've got your crosses there. You got 4 quadrants. So the first one is you go to the lower right and answer who's important to you. And most people have somebody who's important to you. And if you wanted to, you could even answer it right now. Who's important to you?
My kids.
My wife.
For example.
See?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My wife, my son, kids.
Mm-hmm.
You see, Michelle, you see how sneaky I am?
Yeah.
and then we all just did that too, if you'll notice. Right?
It just goes, boop, boop, boop.
You can't lay off it.
And you can't lay off because you got to go, oh, yeah, who's important to me? Oh, yeah.
Yep.
People, they instantly start thinking about who's important to
Right
you.
away.
And that's it. And that's not clinical to think about who's important to you. That's not clinical. That's life. That's just part of everybody's life. So
Let's get you going in the morning.
And then we'll do the yucky and the relief moves and the
there's nothing clinical about fear.
nothing clinical. And it's like you might be able to use that in your own life. And if you want to share it with other people, that's great. It takes no further training than this to go share it with other people.
Right.
Because it's not a clinical intervention. It's a take a look at life intervention.
It's a perspective. It's a point of view.
And that's how we would show it to people. Just anybody.
Okay.
And how do I use it in this situation? And we said, we don't know, but give it a whirl.
Yeah.
There would be like, how would it be like to ride my bike down that path over there? I don't know. I haven't ridden down that path. Why don't you get on your bike and go ride
You can hop on and
come back and tell me about it. That's how we do this. It's like we don't. And so here's the big question: who can you use this with? Best we can tell, you can only use it with humans with language. That's
we haven't gotten past that yet.
We haven't gotten past humans with language. Other than that, well, we don't know.
Sky's the limit.
But as long as they're a human and they got some semblance of language, at least enough language that you can show them pictures. Because in the pre-K stuff and in foreign language stuff, people do at times use pictures to represent the
or they'll draw a picture of
pictures or whatever.
Draw a picture of your puppy if their puppy's important to you.
You got to have some kind of communicative
Yeah.
language that gets people
Symbolic stuff.
Symbolic.
Yeah.
But as long as you got that, you're good to go.
Okay.
So you're going to have us back for more interviews. What are we supposed to do? Yeah, what are we supposed to do? We're very loose. We just show up here at 1:00.
Oh, but that's great. That's the beauty of the thing. Just talking about what comes up, and just
That's an old joke, but I'm not going to.
Usually at school, what types of moments teachers usually use it in a way that you see it?
Anytime during the day.
No. Like Phil, Phil's being.
Yeah.
He forgets what the teachers start doing is they just put the matrix.
It's there.
Up
In
on
the
the
board, in the beginning of the day.
It's this.
Once you've shown the point of view, you leave it up.
And it's there.
It's
every
ready.
day.
It's available for use.
And you can always come back to and ask the question, this stuff that's going on right now, where does it go?
Where will we put it? Where are we now?
I'm not being judgmental. I'm being curious.
Just asking.
I'm just asking, where does it go?
Right.
Now, it's easy to switch it around saying, you bad kids, we're in here to be learning and you're doing stuff. And there I went judgmental.
And now we're going to do a matrix. Yeah.
Right. And now we're going to do this diagram and you're going to see things right. That's not the way to do this. The way to do this is, this stuff that we're doing now, where does it go?
Right.
And then have everybody go, where does it go?
Yeah.
We're just being curious. This is the answer to be curious, not judgmental.
And stay out of people's way.
Right. And that's so the classroom is set up so anytime you need curiosity, the matrix is there to supply that curiosity.
Right. So a student can go up to the board, and I worked in an office. So in between classes, I would have students that could come into my room. I'd have the matrix already there, right? And they'd pick up, and they would do their own little, I hate school, so I put that down there in the lower left, right? And I want to graduate, and they put that over there on the lower right. And I don't like the teacher, I put that back, and I'm going to class, and they'd write that up there, and then they would out the door.
They go to class.
That's okay. I did my thing. Bye.
That's all they needed. So just like Kevin said, it's available. You keep it up, and then whenever someone has a need for it. So when you ask what time, anytime someone has a need to use it.
Just stand back and take a look at things from a perspective.
They will use it because they find it to be useful, and no one's telling them what to do, right? No one's telling anybody what to do with this. So they're more willing to go, you know what? When I do this, this helps me to kind of get a little bit more, well, we'll use the word flexible, whatever they want to call it. And then they move on about their day.
So that you just put it up there and then notice if opportunities show up that it might be useful.
Right.
That's how you use it.
Okay.
See, most people want to fix it. This is not the fix it mentality.
We're not fixing
when
it.
you go into this world, you've gone away from there's some behavior or something that needs to be fixed. Right. We're not in the business of fixing things. We're in the behavior of taking a step back and looking at things.
Perspective
taking.
Observer self, we call it.
And then, you know what? Interesting things happen after people step back and look at things from this perspective. I have yet to see it not be interesting. Yeah. It is interesting what shows up. And that's curiosity. I'll be curious of what shows up after you look at this. But then somebody may say, did you fix the behavior? Like, well, I have no clue. I don't know. It wasn't my purpose. I'm not in charge of fixing behaviors. I do fix it. This is not fix it. This is the polar opposite of fix it. This is look at it. And it's in the service of just looking at it. It is not fixing anything.
Just because you can.
It's sort of fun to look at your behaviors. And then, but every once in a while you ask, is this all these behaviors that I have going here, are they working to get me where I want to go?
Boom.
That's it. And then don't answer that question.
No need. And you could be a teacher in a classroom and saying, hey, folks, what do you think? Is what we're doing working to get us where we want to go?
And then the kids might say, where do we want to go in this class?
Exactly.
And the teachers can say, good question.
Yeah, really.
Let's have a discussion about
now we can.
Where do we want to go in this class?
Yeah.
You know? And what Phil has found out, and I found out a bit myself, most kids want to learn how to read and write and do some arithmetic.
They want to be literate.
They want to be literate. They really do. So as long as the classroom atmosphere is propelling them toward literacy,
notice what works to get me to literacy.
They're fine.
Yeah.
Right?
Including it could be, well, we're reading this book here, and you know what? We're all not feeling this book right now. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, not feeling it, right? So the teacher's like, okay, so what's the purpose of? Well, I guess we're here to read, right? Okay, so since we're here to read and we notice that this isn't working, what can we do? And now a kid can say, gee, maybe we could try another book. And then, what do you think? Yeah, let's try it. And now see how that works?
And now we're cooking along.
Now we're cooking.
And they're still going to go for the purpose of learning how to read,
right?
But it's going to do it.
There's lots of ways to get there, Michelle.
Lots of ways to get there. Right.
Yeah.
And that's intergen. And what that set of behaviors would be looked at as psychologically flexible.
Flexibility. Yeah. They are learning by themselves, and we are just here to guide a little, not being judgmental and not wanting to fix anything.
No, we're here to shape a context.
Yeah. Context for them to do the learning that they need to do the learning for the life they want to be living.
Right.
Yeah.
Once you get the hang of that, you're free. It's really a whole lot easier life.
Yeah.
Your life is a whole lot easier than trying to fix other people's stuff. I'm no good at fixing other people.
My life got a whole lot easier when I started using the Matrix in my building. A whole lot easier. I stopped being a fixer. My fixing days just ground to a halt.
Yeah.
Not a fixer, but I am a context shifter.
Yes. I will gladly wear that moniker right here.
Yeah. You let things go away from your shoulder.
Yeah.
So you feel
your shoulders drop. They really do drop.
Yeah. You feel more relief.
Yeah.
Relief.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah. I get that, and that's great. I think that.
And there we say in reality, the Matrix is actually a ginormous relief move.
Yeah. It is. It's our cheat sheet, Michelle.
Yeah.
We call it our cheat sheet. It's a big.
It's a big cheat sheet. It works too.
And we just revel in the relief.
And we're cheating right out in front too. Like in the days when people would cheat and have to. No, we're right up front. Cheating crazy.
We're flagrant cheaters.
Yes.
Yeah.
we revel. We come invite people to cheat with us.
Yeah, come on in. The water's fine.
Yeah. I think that this will be great. We will have a big movement here in Brazil, having all this content in Portuguese. So I am happy.
I hope it. I mean, our only goal is world peace. So it's a big deal.
Yeah. So
tiny little one. A tiny little one.
And if we pick up all of Portugal, that'll be a pretty good
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, big
because
chunk.
Portugal, sorry, Brazil. Well, while you're about it, go get Portugal. Too.
Yeah, why not?
yeah, yeah.
You
They
gotta
speak
respect
Portuguese. They speak Portuguese. So we can go everywhere that it speaks Portuguese.
Yeah.
Go over there, too,
Are
and we'll
9
be good.
countries, I think. 9
Yeah.
countries that it speaks Portuguese.
Oh, this would be
Yes.
great. Yeah.
Yes, eight or nine. I think 9 with Brazil, I guess. Yes. We can go to everywhere that people speaks Portuguese. We will spread the word, and I will figure out how to put in
Spread the
Portuguese.
diagram. See, it's the diagram.
Yes, to be really like to picking words that will give the sense of what it is. So we really need to pick the right words in Portuguese to give the right sense that it has the same meaning that it is in English.
And we wish you the very best.
Really, you are all power to you.
I will have the Matrix right here with me.
Yes.
Oh, good for you. Good for you. Welcome back.
Awesome.
Let us know what you need.
Yeah.
We'll be here.
We'll go forward from here.
Okay,
All right.
great.
This has been a blast.
Yeah. It's so nice to spend some time with you today.
Ah,
Many thanks here. We will be
who did
working
you say,
on
who did you say was important to you?
my kids.
Your kids. Okay. Our kids are. I don't know. I felt the need. In all the conversation, I had forgotten to really know who's important to her.
Yeah.
These are important things to know about people.
Yes.
Yeah. So we will be putting all this good content and spread the word to spread Act Matrix through Portuguese countries, not just Brazil.
Nice.
I'm confident.
All
right.
Good for you.
Good. Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
See you.